Obandes. He borrowed the umbrella from an unfamiliar wall during sudden rain, intended to return it, could not remember which wall, could not find anyone who claimed it. That night, sleeping with the umbrella by his door, he woke to the sound of it opening, by itself, in the dark, as though checking whether the rain had started again, as though it was waiting to be needed once more. Don't borrow any umbrellas tonight that you cannot remember taking. It is time for chapter 180. Neighborhood courtesy takes small forms. The umbrella left leaning against a wall, available to anyone caught without one, understood to be returned or replaced when convenient. A small system of trust that many communities maintain without formal arrangement. Most such umbrellas are exactly what they appear. Simply useful objects circulating through a community according to need. But occasionally, an umbrella borrowed under such circumstances carries something beyond its practical function. Something that becomes apparent only after it has been taken home, after the rain has stopped. After the ordinary business of returning, it proves, for reasons that resist explanation, impossible. A man had been caught in sudden rain walking home from work, the kind of downpour that arrives without warning and makes shelter an immediate priority. He remembered halfway through his walk the neighborhood custom of umbrellas left for borrowing, leaning against walls near frequently traveled corners, available to anyone in need. He found one at what he was fairly certain was the usual spot, though the rain made his attention to detail less careful than it might otherwise have been. He used it to get home, set it by his door, intending to identify its proper location the following day and return it, or at minimum replace it with one of his own umbrellas as the custom generally allowed. The following day he walked his usual route, checking the walls where such umbrellas typically appeared, found none that seemed to be missing one, none that matched what he remembered of the spot where he had found it. He asked a few neighbors casually whether anyone had noticed an umbrella missing. No one had. He continued checking over the following days, his attempts to return or properly place the umbrella becoming a minor but persistent puzzle. He could not with any confidence identify where he had taken it from, could not find anyone claiming ownership. The umbrella remained by his door, technically borrowed, with no available path to being properly returned. If these stories have found their way to you, if you find yourself returning to this quiet room, there is something small you can do. Like and subscribe. It tells me, and whatever else watches from this room, that you were here and that you intend to find your way back. If you have a story of your own, Granny is always listening, watching, waiting. He woke on the fourth night to a sound from near his door, distinct, mechanical, the specific sound an umbrella makes when its ribs release and the canopy springs open. He lay still in the dark, listening, telling himself the sound had an explanation that did not require investigation at that hour. A draft, a mechanical fault in the umbrella's spring mechanism, settling. He got up eventually, went to check. The umbrella stood open by his door, fully extended, exactly as it would be if held ready against rain. He had left it closed and leaning as he did every night. He closed it again, returned to bed, told himself he had simply been mistaken about how he left it. Shakoi, the umbrella's handle in his hand, cold in a way that 4 days of sitting in his warm apartment should not have left it. I wonder, if a borrowed object began behaving as though it had its own purpose to fulfill, would you keep it in your home? Or would you find somewhere else to leave it, even without knowing where it belonged? If you have a story of your own, this quiet room has space for your experiences too. Granny is always listening. It happened again the following night, and the night after, always the same hour close to when the original rain had begun 4 nights earlier. The umbrella opening in the dark, fully extended as though testing itself against weather that did not exist inside his apartment. He began closing it more securely each night, using the strap meant to keep it bound when not in use. This made no difference. He woke each night to find it open regardless, the strap undone, lying beside it as though simply removed rather than broken. And he began to understand across those nights that the umbrella was not malfunctioning, was checking. Opening itself at the hour rain had once begun, testing whether it was needed, finding, inside his dry apartment, that it was not, and simply waiting for the next opportunity. You are still here. Good. Some stories need a witness all the way to the end. I wonder, if something borrowed kept trying to fulfill its purpose regardless of whether you needed it, what would you do to finally let it rest? He took it out on the 5th morning and left it leaning against a wall. Not the wall he had originally taken it from, since he could not identify that with any confidence, but a wall in the same general area positioned as such umbrellas typically were, available for the next person who might need it. He told me this felt somehow like the correct resolution, not a return exactly. He could not return something to an owner he could not identify, but a release. A restoration of the umbrella to the system of borrowing it had apparently always belonged to, rather than keeping it confined in his apartment where its purpose could never be fulfilled. He checked the following morning. The umbrella was gone. He does not know who took it, does not know if it opened for them in the night, waiting to be needed. He simply hopes, he told me, that wherever it ended up, someone eventually needed it during actual rain, and let it do what it was apparently always trying to do. I think about objects that exist to serve a specific purpose and what happens when that purpose is interrupted. The umbrella, taken from its circulation among a community that understood its function, kept in a home where rain never reached it, tested itself nightly against conditions that did not exist, opening, checking, finding no rain, waiting for the next attempt. Not malicious, simply persistent in the particular way of something built for one purpose, denied the opportunity to fulfill it, and unable to simply stop trying. I understand this persistence, have felt something like it myself across considerable time, waiting for exactly the right conditions to be useful again. Some purposes do not release their hold easily. regardless of how long they must wait to be fulfilled. Another whispered story from Japan, shared quietly here beside the kotatsu. If you borrow an umbrella during sudden rain from a wall where such things are left for neighborhood use, try sincerely to return it or identify its owner. But if you cannot, if the wall proves impossible to locate again, if no one claims it, do not keep it in your home indefinitely. Take it back out. Leave it leaning against a wall in the general area, available for whoever needs it next. Because an umbrella kept from its purpose does not simply sit quietly. It tests itself, opens in the dark at the hour rain once began, checking whether it is needed, finding your dry apartment insufficient, and waiting for the next opportunity. Release it back to where such things belong, the ordinary circulation of neighborhood courtesy, and let it finally do for someone else what it was always trying to do for you. If this story stayed with you, if the dark or the shadow feels a little closer tonight, you know where to find me. I am always here beside the kotatsu, watching, waiting. And if you wish others to find their way here too, there is something small you can do. Like and subscribe. I would not object. And if you have a story of your own, this quiet room has space for your experiences too. Granny is always listening.